There we go.
Yes. So my name is Jeanette, and I function as the program coordinator in Sinapis. So basically what that means is I manage one of the programs that we run there called the Aspire program, which is for early stage and idea stage entrepreneurs. So I'm really excited about today, and I'll start sharing my screen in a few, just to give you a bit of background about who we are as Sinapis, and yes, we'll go on from there. All right. I can't share my screen, Sylvia.
Just let me make you host.
Cool.
There we go.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Yes. So, as you know, we are here for the business model. Sorry, Canvas workshop. And so I just want to give you a brief intro into who we are as Sinapis before we start our workshop today. So maybe you're probably wondering, what does Sinapis mean? And it's an interesting name. I don't know if there's anyone in the group who has ever heard of this name before. If you have, you can just raise your hand with the raising hand emoji. Yeah. So, Faith has heard of us before, of the word. Thank you, Faith. Yes. So we got this word from the Bible, and Gerald too. Yes, so Sinapis basically means mustard seed. It's the scientific name for the mustard seed. And our founders thought of this word because they wanted to create an organization that doesn't just focus on the entrepreneur, but on even the community around the entrepreneur. And we got it from the parable of the mustard seed, which says that the kingdom of God is like a mustard seed, which starts off as a small seed, but grows into a big plant, which provides food and shelter for birds of the air and other animals. All right. So that's how they came up with the term. And Sinapis itself was founded in 2010 in Nairobi, Kenya. So we are the headquarters here, but we have operations around the world. Okay. And our core mission is actually to make disciples and alleviate poverty through the power of entrepreneurship. So the making disciples part comes from the fact that we are a Christian-based organization. So everything we do stems from the word of God. But that doesn't mean, sorry, that we discriminate against people who are not Christians. No, we are very open and welcoming. So we welcome people of all faiths, from Muslims, Christians, Hindus, even atheists. So we don't discriminate just on the virtue that we are a Christian organization. And our vision is basically to empower 10,000 entrepreneurs globally, and just to help them to be a part of taking back the marketplace for the glory of God. And this is our vision because we believe that entrepreneurs in the marketplace actually have more access to people than, let's say, a pastor does on a Sunday morning. Yeah. So you as an entrepreneur, you're actually able to reach out and access a lot more people than a pastor on a Sunday morning. So basically, how do you conduct your business, transactions? How do you deal with your customers, deal with your suppliers, and all that? Okay. So one of the ways we accomplish our mission and vision is through training. So we have 2 training programs. And one of them is the Aspire Launchpad program, the one that I manage. So it's an idea stage and early stage, focused program for entrepreneurs. So let's say you have an idea, but you don't know how to start or where to start. This is the right program for you. Or maybe you have 5 ideas and you have no idea which one to start with. This is usually the perfect program to start with. So it's usually a 9-week program where you get to, work on your idea, work on your business while speaking to people who are in the same stage as you. So you're able to have support, to have people working with you and helping you to figure things out before you get to the next level. And then we also have a program now for entrepreneurs who are in the growth stage, which is called the Entrepreneur Academy, which is a 16-week program. So it's a mini MBA. And this is suited for people who've been in business probably for like a year, 2 years, and they've already set the foundations in place, and now they're just seeking to grow the business. All right. And so this is the program that we started with when we started our organization, but later on now we introduced the Aspire program. So one of the things that we do a lot in Sinapis is we track the impact that our entrepreneurs make. And so far, we've seen that more than 6,000 people have been employed by people who have gone through our programs, which is a really good number. And since our program deals primarily with kingdom-based principles, basically we are led by the word of God, we've seen that at least 73% of entrepreneurs have been able to turn down bribes just because of going through our program. And then the other thing is we have various ways of helping entrepreneurs get access to capital. So when it comes to the amount of capital that's been raised so far, we've seen more than $26 million being raised by our entrepreneurs. And they've also collectively brought in more than $41 million in revenue in their businesses, all right? And then the other thing that entrepreneurs usually one challenge is, let's say you've been in business for a year or two, but when it comes to the third year, things usually get a bit rocky and most businesses don't make it past the 3-year mark. But we've seen that more than 74% of entrepreneurs are still in business 3 years after graduating from the program, which shows that indeed those who actually apply what they learn are able to stay the course and grow their businesses beyond the program. And the other thing we also track the social impact from our entrepreneurs. So basically, we've seen new jobs being created. We also ask, like, how many people, let's say, has your employee been supporting? So we're able to track that. And from that, we've seen that almost 17,000 lives have been impacted by the new jobs that have been created through our entrepreneurs. Yes, and then you've had Sylvia talk a bit about our amazing partnership with Health Prize KU. So one of the ways we are partnering, other than these amazing webinars that we'll be hosting for you, is we have scholarships for the top 3 people who will emerge from going through the challenge to actually go through our Aspire program. So for the winner of the prize, we give them 100% scholarship for the founder now, for the main person in that business, to go through the program, which is essentially valued at 18,000 shillings. Then for the first runners up, we'll give them a 75% scholarship. Just a second. Sylvia, let me make you co-host. Let me make you co-host because I'm getting the invites.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Yes, so just a second, guys. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Yes, so for the first runners up, we'll be giving them a 75% scholarship to go through the Aspire program. And then for the second runners up, we'll give them a 50% scholarship to go through the program, okay? But even if you don't end up in the top 3, you're still welcome to join us for our programs. And yeah, we'll be really excited to have you come on board, okay? So with that in mind, I'd like for us to embark on the topic of the day, which is the business model canvas. Okay, so by a show of hands again, who has ever come across something like this or something similar, or heard about the business model canvas? Just raise your hand with the emoji if you have. Ah, nice. Anyone else? Okay, so I'm happy at least it's not a strange tool to all of us. Yes, and so I'm gonna show you, like, so you can see that on the screen, but I also want to show you what I have here. So it's basically what we use in class. So it's the printout version of what you have on your screens. So it's usually an A3 size paper, so it's quite big. And the reason we use sticky notes is so that, you know, when you're starting out a business, at times you have so many ideas that you're like, oh, maybe I should serve this customer, maybe I should do this. And then if you write it down with a pen, you know, you can't come and start rubbing. But if you use sticky notes, you can actually remove that one and replace it with something else and say, okay, fine, maybe I don't want to do that, maybe I want to do something else. All right. And the sticky notes I'm referring to are these ones. Yeah, so they're available in supermarkets and stuff. Okay. So that's what you use during the Aspire program. Yes, so basically, when we talk about the business model canvas, for those who've come across it, I believe you've noticed that it's a tool, you know, that businesses can use to work on their businesses and also work on their business. Okay, just excuse me just a bit. All right. So the business model canvas basically helps you to understand, to test, and also to refine your business idea. All right. So let's say you have an idea to start a bakery, but you don't know where to start. Using this canvas, you can actually go through it. And by the time you're done with all the sections, you can actually create something called the one-page business plan, which you can, you know, it can help you figure things out. Oh dear, I'm really sorry, guys. Just a second.
We're sorry about your cold. Okay, so guys, as we are going on with the session, you can post all your questions on the chat. Any questions that you have about anything she says, and then we'll revisit them after she finishes the presentation. I hope that is okay with all of you.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you, Sylvia.
Yeah.
All right. So, as I was saying, so the canvas will help you to understand what your idea is, to test it out and see if it can actually work, and also to refine that idea so that you can be able to, you know, to just work on it and make it just a bit more perfect or special for your business. Okay. All right, just a second. Yes. So when it comes to the business model canvas, as you guys can see, it has, you know, different sections. So we have the customer section, we have the problem, alternatives, solution, benefit, advantage. As we have all these sections, and what this shows us is all these sections actually, when you go through it and fill them up or, you know, work on them, you're actually able to look at your business from more than just one angle, but from a 360-degree sort of angle. All right. Yes, and then, yeah, so basically what I want us to deal with today is we are going to go through section by section of the canvas and just talk a bit about each and every section. So I really hope that everyone has a pen and paper or notebook so that as we go through this, you can be able to think about your business and the various sections in it, all right? So the first part, even as you can see from the canvas, is the customer. And you can see this part is actually quite big. And the reason for this is if you don't have customers, you're not really in business, all right? So even before you say you're starting a business or you want to sell a product or service, question number one is, who is going to be your customer? Who are you going to be serving? Yeah. Who is that ideal customer and why? All right. So if let's say you want to start a travel business, maybe you want to see these kinds of businesses where they're taking people on tours, let's say to Keraita Forest or to Naivasha. For such kind of a business, you might end up having more than one customer, right? So you have maybe a 30-year-old lady who just wants to get out of town and relax. You might have a 65-year-old couple that, you know, they want to enjoy their 50th or 40th wedding anniversary. You might have a 15-year-old who's been paid for by the mom to just go, you know, with their friends just to have some fun. So when it comes to your customer, you might, depending on your business, you might end up having more than one customer. So based on that, on your business or on your service, ask yourself, what characteristics make up my customer? So that includes the age. What age is my ideal customer? So are they 18 to 35? Are they 40 to 50? What age group do they fall in? And then you can also talk about maybe how much money do they make per month? So is it, do they make between 50,000 and 100,000 shillings a month? And then the other thing you can talk about is where do they live? Because when a customer lives, you're able to figure out, am I able to access this customer or not? Okay. And then the other thing that you can think about is okay, so those factors that I've just mentioned are usually called demographic characteristics. Okay. These are not the only ways where you should be thinking about your customer, but there's something else called emotional characteristics. So what are these? These are, what interests do my customers have? What values do they have? What beliefs do they have? Okay, what makes them happy? So for example, for a travel business, the 15-year-old and the 65-year-old are in very, very different categories age-wise, but they both share the love of travel, so to speak. Okay, so both of them are your customers, but they fall in different categories. Okay, so just thinking about the kind of product or service you're selling and the person you're selling it to can help you figure out the emotional characteristics and the demographic characteristics, so that you don't just focus on one thing and abandon the other. All right. Then the other thing we are going to deal with a business selling, let's say, healthy cakes. All right. So you already know that your product is the healthy cakes, but which problem are you trying to solve? Yeah, which problem already exists for you to say that you're selling healthy cakes? So it could be that the problem is people are looking for healthy baked products, but they've not been getting them. And you've seen that that is a gap that you would like to address. So then your question then becomes, are you able to really address that problem clearly and specifically, so that by the time you're saying you're bringing a product to solve that problem, you're very clear on what that problem is? Yeah. So some of the things you should ask yourself about the problem is like, what are my customers' pain points? Where are they, and how can I come in and provide? When you're able to clearly, what are the alternatives in the market? How is my customer currently solving the problem that they have? Okay. And when it comes to the alternatives or to your competition, there are two types that you should think about. There are those who are offering similar products to what you're offering. So for example, if it's for healthy cakes, someone is offering healthy cakes as well. And there's also competitors who might not offer the same exact thing you're offering, but they're still solving the current problem. All right. So for example, for the baked products, maybe someone is not selling cakes, but maybe they're selling granola, which is a healthy baked product, which can sort of substitute the need for the client to snack on something sweet and delicious, but it's also healthy. All right. Or someone else is offering some maybe breadsticks that are not made from flour, but they're sort of solving that problem in a way, just not in the same way that you want to solve. All right. In case you have a question, by the way, guys, just list it in the chat box and we'll come back to it later. All right. Yes. So as you think about your business, chances are, or about your product or service, chances are that a solution already exists for what you want to solve, but it might not be the exact same thing, but your customer currently might be solving the same problem. Or for example, you see the way Uber started. Just because it was a new and amazing idea, like you just ask for a cab wherever you are and it will take you to the place where you want to, and you already know how much you're going to be charged. That didn't really exist before. Yeah, but the customer was already solving their problem in a different way. For example, if you wanted to get from point A to B, you could either use a bus, or you could call your normal taxi guy. You're like, hey, Njoroge, where are you? I'm here, I want to go to the airport. He's like, okay, wait for me for 2 hours. And you would do it and he would show up, all right? Then maybe you could walk to your destination, or you could use other means. So already there are solutions to that problem before, but it wasn't the same thing that Uber came up with. They sort of came up with a new innovative disruptive product, which now brought an even better solution to what people were trying to solve earlier. All right. So as you think about your product or service, about what you're offering, ask yourself what the current alternatives are. All right. Ask yourself if those current solutions are actually solving the problem as the customer would wish for it to be solved, or if there's something better you can do about it. All right. Is your customer satisfied with that solution enough to keep sticking with them, or can you offer them something good, something new? All right. And then the other thing, so as you go through this, just ask yourself, when it comes to competitors, what sets you apart? Why would customers choose you over someone else? Yeah. And how can you stand out from the rest of the competition? All right, guys. So I hope you can be thinking about this even as you go along. Okay. And the other thing that I've mentioned a bit in the previous slides is the solution. So for example, like we said, you want to sell healthy baked products, all right? And so what you're offering to your customer maybe is 1 kg of healthy cake, all right? So that 1 kg is actually a solution to your customer's problem, all right? So based on your product or service, I need you to ask yourself, what exactly am I offering to my customer? Okay, so at times you might think that your customer wants 1 kg of cake, while in the real sense, they just want 2 muffins. Okay, so based on your customer's needs, what exactly are you offering to your customer? And why are you choosing that as the solution? Have you talked to your customer for them to tell you, I would like this and that, I would like a 1 kg cake, not a half kg, or are you just assuming? All right, are you just assuming that this is what your customer wants, or have you actually found out that it's what they want and they're willing and able to pay for it? Okay, then the other thing is you need to ask yourself is, what exactly does your customer get from you? Okay, so this sort of ties in with the first question. So what exactly, when you're selling it to them, what are you selling, to them? For example, if you're buying a new phone nowadays, you'll find that some companies include their earphones, some don't. So when you go to checkout, they tell you this, in this box, there's a phone, there's a charger, there's a set of headphones, there's a pin to open the SIM card slot and all that. So even for yourself, you need to list out, like, what exactly am I offering my customer? Just list it out so that you can be able to figure out how exactly am I going to do this, all right? Then the other thing you need to ask yourself is that solution that you're offering sufficient to solve your customer's problem? Okay, and for you to be able to know whether it's sufficient, you need to understand beyond a shadow of doubt what your customer's problem is and what kind of solution would be perfect for you to solve that problem. All right, so I hope, guys, you're thinking about your product or service even as we ask ourselves these questions. Okay. Then the other thing, there's something called features versus benefits, all right? So, so I want to explain this in a very simple way, all right? As you think about the product or service that you want to sell to your customers, most of us usually focus on features, yeah? For example, you want to buy a new phone, yeah? So what you'll find most sellers or brands is they tell you it has a 16 GB memory, maybe it's 4 GB ROM, RAM, 16 GB ROM, maybe it has a mem card slot, it has this kind of display, it has amazing, sound output for videos and all that. They focus so much on the features, and that's what you'll see listed out, all right? Which is really good. I don't dispute that, because for you as a customer, it gives you a chance to say, okay, fine, I'm looking for something that has this and that qualities. Yeah. But then on the other hand, beyond features, beyond what you've listed out, what else is your customer getting from buying from you? All right. So let's say for the healthy cakes, yeah. So the features would say maybe it's sugarless, maybe it doesn't have eggs, maybe it doesn't have milk, maybe it doesn't use wheat flour, maybe it uses rice flour. All right. Those are features, which is, you know, all well and good, and it's a good thing for your customer to know what they're getting. But beyond that, why will your customer buy what you're selling them? For example, let's say you're baker A and there's baker B. Both of you are offering the same exact features for your customer, right? So why will a customer choose you over the other baker? Yeah. So that's where you need to think about benefits. So benefits are usually not tangible. You can't touch it and say, this is the benefit I'm offering you as a customer. And you can't really see it per se. But beyond what you can see, why is the customer buying from you? So for example, for the cakes example, it's a healthy cake, yeah? So maybe it doesn't have sugar, artificial sugar. So what that means is, let's say your customer is diabetic and they're looking for something to eat to, you know, take away that craving for cake that will not harm them in the process, all right? So the moment you tell them that your cake is sugar-free, that already spikes their interest. Then the next thing for them, now they think, if it's sugar-free, then what does that mean for me? So number one is it will take away the worry that me eating this cake will actually harm me, all right? Number two, it will actually possibly help to reduce my hospital bills. So for example, if I go to the hospital maybe once every 2 weeks because my sugar levels are too high, because I snacked on a little bit of cake that had too much sugar, you know, already I'm paying that consistent fee. But if I take this cake, which is, you know, has low sugar levels or it doesn't have any sugar, then that will not affect my blood sugar levels, and it will actually save me some costs of going to the hospital. So already by buying from you, gosh, sorry people. So by buying from you, you've already given them peace of mind. And number two, you've already shown them you can actually save them money. All right. Number three, you can even tell them maybe they're trying to lose weight, and by eating your cakes, they'll actually reach that goal. So you're also helping them to lose some weight and remain healthy. So when you're selling to your customer, don't just focus so much on your features, but also show them the benefit that they actually get from buying your product or service. In the case of the umbrella featured on the slides, for example, if you're selling an umbrella, you tell them, okay, it's wooden, it's red, maybe it has a strong fabric, you know, it can't tear, so you're safe, all right? And someone may say, okay, but still, what am I getting from this? What's in it for me, you know? So that's why now you tell them, you see, if you use our umbrella, number one, it will, you know, filter the UV rays from the sun, which will actually protect your skin and will actually save you from getting cancer, for example. Maybe that will help them, maybe not, but it's a benefit of using the umbrella. Or you see, maybe you're, you know, you've slayed, you've put on your makeup, you're looking all nice, and then it starts raining and your makeup starts washing off. But if you use our umbrella, you can have peace of mind in the sense that your makeup will remain intact. You look nice, you'll go wherever you're going, you'll get all the compliments, you'll be able to make your presentation if that's what you're doing. You know, so you've shown them the benefit they can actually get beyond just buying that product or service. So guys, if you're on the same page, kindly lift your hand so I can see I'm not talking to myself. And just raise your hand in the reactions. Great. So far we have 2 people on. I'm seeing a thumbs up. Great. All right. Yeah. So again, in case a question comes up, kindly post it in the chat box and we'll deal with it once we are done with this presentation. All right. So just think about your product or service. Beyond the features, what else does your customer get from buying from you? Okay. So whatever it is, ask yourself, why will they, if 2 of you are put here and both of you are selling the same thing, what will make your customer buy from you and not from the other person? Okay, if you take a case of let's say Uber, for example, yeah, what will make you choose to ride in an Uber as opposed to a normal taxi? Yeah, let's say for a normal taxi, you'll have to wait for your kawaida taxi guy for 2 hours, for 4 hours. Maybe they'll gosh, guys, I'm so sorry.
We understand.
Please bear with me.
We understand. We've all been
Thanks,
there.
Sylvia. Yeah. So let's say for your normal taxi guy, he tells you, oh, I've run, I've gone to town, I'm coming back. You wait for them for 2 hours. And maybe you have a flight to catch, you're getting late, you're running late. So already they've wasted your time. They'll probably waste your money. They're probably even quite expensive, even with the long wait hours. All right. And then you compare that to, let's say, an Uber ride or a Bolt ride. Already, number one, you can see where exactly your driver is. All right. So if they tell you they're 10 minutes away, you can actually check from the map and you're like, no, this guy is not 10 minutes away. Maybe he's very far. And you can actually cancel that and request for another ride. And what that gives you is now you get even extra control to choose who to ride with, to choose like, when to leave, how to do it. It will save you some money. So given those two options, it can be actually quite clear which one to choose. So for you as well, in your business or your service, why will a customer choose you? Just try and make that as clear as possible to make it easier even to sell to them. All right. So basically, when you think about benefits, they'll actually, for your benefits, you should think about them actually giving your customer more of something. Maybe you'll help them to save some more money, give them some more free time, more comfort, peace of mind, and all that, or less of something. When you use my products, you'll be less stressed about this and that happening. You'll not struggle waiting on the bus stop for a bus to come and you're getting rained on and all that. So try to show your customer why exactly they need to buy from you. All right. So as you think about this, ask yourself, what will motivate a customer to buy from you? What draws them to your product or service? What can you add to your customer's life to make it better? And what can you take away? And also, how exactly are you solving the problem? All right. So again, we'll share these slides with you where you can go through these questions and keep asking yourself that, even as you refine your business idea. All right. And something else that you really need to think about, which you can actually come up with even as you think about the solution you're providing and the benefits of your product or service, is something called the advantage. Or maybe you've heard of it like the unique selling points, or unique value proposition. Yeah. So basically, yes, you're selling, let's say, these healthy cakes, yeah. But what sets you apart from your competitors? Let's say your business is healthy cakes A and your competitor is healthy cakes B. Yeah. So what exactly makes your healthy cakes better than your competitors? Yeah. What exactly gives you now that extra edge? Could it be that you actually do deliveries to your clients' places free of charge? Could it be that if someone orders for cakes, they're able to get them within 2 hours? Could it be that you're able to custom make your products to suit your customers' liking? For example, maybe Healthy Cakes B is just doing sugarless cakes, but for you, you're able to do milkless, eggless, sugarless cakes. Yeah. So like, what exactly are you doing differently from your competitors? Yeah. So just think about the product or service that you want to sell and ask yourself, why exactly is my product or service better than my competitors? Why is exactly the service that I'm offering better than them? All right. Because you'll see, for example, for online sellers, yeah, you'll find that there's number one, from the moment you start ordering for the product online, you'll call maybe their number or you'll chat them up and they'll respond immediately. They'll be very clear, they'll be very professional, they'll be very nice. They'll let you know, okay, this is what we have. If you don't have this in stock, could you consider something else? You see, as in they're very clear, transparent from the start. But someone else, you might find online seller B, let's say you want to buy a dress and you want a particular red dress. So first of all, you chat them up, they don't respond. So you're like, okay. Or because I've seen this complaint quite a number of times, or you chat them up and they end up being rude to you. So you're left wondering, wow, so why exactly am I buying from this person? Yeah. Or you order for something, you tell them, okay, I'd like this red dress in a size small. So when can I get it? So they tell you, yes, the dress is available. You'll get it at 10 a.m. today, maybe it's 8 a.m. And this much is the delivery fee, but you need to pay before delivery. Okay, say, okay, fine, maybe I trust you, I'll do that. But the moment the dress gets to you, number one, it's not red, it's blue. Number two, it's not a size small, it's a size large. Number three, it didn't get to you at 10 a.m., it got to you at 4 p.m. Yeah. So given that service, if you're coming into that space, those are some of the things you need to think about. Okay, based on where the competition is failing, how can I improve service for my customers? Yeah. So if someone asks me for a red dress and I tell them it's there, but then I go to my stocks and confirm that it's not, immediately I call them. I tell them, hi, Grace, you wanted a red dress in a size small. I'm sorry, we've run out of that. Would you consider a different dress? Maybe we have a yellow one in the same size. Is that okay with you? Then they're like, okay, that's fine. Okay. Then you're like, you'll still get it at 10 a.m. So where's your address? So you deliver it to them. And then you can even make it slightly easier for them. You tell them you can actually pay on delivery. Just try out the dress. If it fits, well and good. If it doesn't, just send it back with the delivery guy and we'll send something else to you. So for you, you've gone above and beyond for your customers' sake, such that even if you're selling your product at a higher price than your competitor, the service you're providing is much better, which will make it easier for your customer to buy from you and even refer other people to you. All right. So beyond making money, beyond saying my dress is X amount, why else should someone buy from you? What makes you unique? What makes you better than your competitor? All right. So that is something to really, really think about. Okay. Then the other thing is, the other thing you should think about when it comes to your advantage is, let's say you have a certain set of skills that nobody else has. Yeah. For example, you're bringing something new to the market and maybe you're the only one who has that set of skills. That can actually be your unique selling point. Yeah. So let's say, whatever it is, you went through some extra courses, and you learned a few different things that someone else doesn't know. That can be a unique selling point, and it can actually sell to your customers or to whoever is thinking about buying from you. All right. Yes. And the other thing, we've talked about solution. We've talked about the problem. We've talked about the customer. We've talked about your advantage. All these, you need to communicate this to your customer, all right? So how exactly are you supposed to do that? Which is what we call the message. What story are you going to give as you communicate about your product or service? What message are you going to give as you market your product or service, all right? And one of the things you need to think about when it comes to your message is the message you give out there is one way to communicate your brand. All right. And you should make sure that that message remains consistent. For example, at Sinapis, one of our messages is we are a Christian-based organizations where we train and equip entrepreneurs with, the kind of skills, training, and resources that they need to start and run businesses that glorify God at the end of the day, but businesses that also remain sustainable in the long run. And for us, we may communicate that message in different words, but at the end of the day, the message remains consistent, okay? So if you find someone else, even from Sinapis, and ask them, okay, so what do you guys do? They'll tell you maybe we train entrepreneurs. Okay. The other one will tell you we train on kingdom-based principles. The other one will tell you we have a business plan competition where we provide capital for our entrepreneurs. So at the end of the day, all these messages have something little from every corner, but they all tie in to the main message. So as you communicate about your offering to your customers or to your potential customers, ask yourself, am I communicating mixed messages, or is my message remaining consistent? For example, when it comes to cakes, let's say you're saying you sell healthy cakes, but somewhere down the line, people see you saying, oh, we are doing these kinds of cakes that have, lots of sugar, lots of milk, and, all those other things. And people are wondering, okay, fine, we thought you only deal with healthy cakes. It's okay to sell more than one kinds of cake, but just be clear about that from the word go to your customers to avoid confusing them and making them doubt you. All right. So if you don't just sell healthy cakes, say we sell, cakes with wheat, with sugar and all that, but we also sell healthy cakes. So your customer can know what to expect from you from the word go. Like you've seen, maybe there's a time I bought a packet of crisps, and at the back it's written, our facility handles products, nut and milk products. So in case you're allergic to those things, beware even before you eat these crisps. And for you, you're able to say, okay, so yes, I'm eating potatoes, but there's a chance there was some cross-contamination with some nuts or some milk. So if I'm allergic to any of those things, I need to be aware from the word go, right? So you're able to protect yourself even before you buy that product or service. So even for you, ask yourself, what kind of message am I transmitting to my customers? And am I confusing them, or is the message clear and consistent? All right. So as you think about this, ask yourself, will that message that you want to communicate make your customer like and trust you? What about that product that you're selling will actually spark their interest? Is it the lack of sugar in your healthy cakes? Is it the lack of waiting times for Uber? Maybe you want to start a taxi hail, service. Is it the fact that you can take back a product, a dress that doesn't fit your client in case they need it exchanged? Like, what exactly about you or your product will spark their interest even before they buy from you? Okay. And there's something I'd like for you guys to do. Even as you think about this, just research about some brands that you like, about how they do their messaging. For example, Coca-Cola, they show you that you're taking a bottle of soda. Yes, already you know that soda has a lot of sugar and it might not be the healthiest thing, but they're able to communicate the feeling that you'll get from taking that soda. Yeah, you can actually feel the refreshment, the happiness, as you take that sip of soda, even if it's not the healthiest thing. So they're actually able to appeal to your emotions and to your feelings and to, to make you excited and like, I'm gonna take this thing, even if it's not the healthiest thing in the world, but I'll still take it. All right. So even for you, just think about, what brands do you like and the way they've done their messaging? And is there something that you can pick from them? Yeah. Even as you communicate about what you do, what you're selling, just think about that. All right. At the back of your mind, what values do they have and what can I adopt in my own business? Okay. So it's all good to say, this is the message I want to transmit. These are the people I want to target. But then my question becomes, how exactly do you get that message out there? All right. Will you go around talking to people one by one, telling them, I sell the best cakes in town, I sell the best dresses, I have the best taxi hailing service in town? Or how exactly will you get that message out there? All right. So there are so many different ways that you can use to get your customer to know about you, all right, and about your product or service. So the number one way you can try, which has worked since I think the beginning of time, as you can see, for example, from the Garden of Eden, the devil came with an apple, gave Eve, told her, go give your husband. She comes and tells her, this thing can actually, make you wise. Let's eat. I think that's one of the first examples. If you believe that the Bible shows the actual, correct way that things happened, that word of mouth was applied and it was very, very effective. Yeah, like you just tell someone, I know someone told you, God told you it's not good for you to take it, but it can actually work. and it's actually a good thing. And he ended up buying, so to speak. So even for you, just think about a time you wanted to buy a product or service, yeah? And you asked a friend, okay, so I'm thinking about this phone. What do you think? Have you used it before? They're like, yeah, but that's not the best phone to buy. Honestly, instinctively, you'll actually say, if my friend did not like it, then I'll probably not like it. So let me stay away. Yeah. And then the other thing is, let's say someone comes and just starts raving about something they've used and enjoyed, and they're like, my goodness, let me tell you, this soda is the best in town. When you take it, you'll just feel refreshed, you'll feel happy, you'll be excited, at that particular point, you're also like, I want to try that soda, and also feel the same way that my friend felt. All right. So yes. So yeah. So word of mouth is very, very powerful. And the beauty of it is it's actually free. So for you as an entrepreneur, you need to think about, how can I use word of mouth to my advantage? All right. So for example, maybe, yes, you're just starting out, but there's one or two people who've used your product or service, they've liked it, and they can actually be good ambassadors for you. So you can actually ask them, do you mind just talking about this to your friends, to your family? Do you mind sharing about your experience? You know what, just share this if you don't mind. And you'll see that if someone is actually satisfied about your business or service, they'll be very happy to share about that with their friends and family. All right. So just, this is one of the easiest and cheapest ways to get your message out there. So if you can employ these, the better. All right. Then the other thing that we've really seen, working well is social media, especially for the young generation. All right. So if you want to, get your product or service out there, just, you can either open a Facebook page, you can go on Instagram, you can use Twitter, you can use, there's so many different social media channels that you can use to advertise your product or service. Yeah. So when you're thinking about that, just consider which channel will work best for what I'm selling. Based on the age group I'm targeting, should I target
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. This happens. Let's give her a moment.
I don't know what happened, guys.
Uh,
Maybe
Network
network.
issues, probably.
Poleni. Yes. So let me share my screen again. Sorry about that. Yes. So as I was saying, you need to ask yourself, let's say if you want to use, for example, Instagram, yeah, you'll find out that maybe someone who is 50 will not really be active on Instagram, but you'll find them on Facebook. Okay. If that is your customer, you advertising on Instagram will not really reach them. So yes, you're spending your resources, your time, your energy, maybe some money on that marketing channel, which is good, but your customer is actually on a different channel. So you're trying to get them somewhere where they're not. Okay. So that's something you need to think about. If it's Twitter, is your customer there, or are they on Instagram? Are they just normal Googling people, who just go and search for products on Google, like, so where exactly will you meet your customer and at what time? So let's say if you want to put an ad out there, let's say targeting someone who is 21 years old, who is active on Instagram, what time will you get them there? Maybe they're in campus, they have classes during the day, but at around 5 p.m. they're free. That's when maybe your ad should go out. So like based on these different kinds of people and the channels that you're using and the times that they are likely to use those channels, you can then decide when to market your product or service. I'll give you an example with TV. For those who watch news, I think you've noticed that quite a number of businesses market their products in between the news segments. Yeah, and it's usually the same companies over and over. And that is not an accident, and they actually pay a lot of money to market during that time because they know my customer is probably 40 years old, they've come from work, they're tired, they just want to watch sorry, some news and sleep. So if something like Doshi Mills are selling their steel products to people who are building houses, they know that someone will get home at maybe 8, 9 o'clock, they're watching news. So that's the time I need to talk to them. Yeah. If it's Colgate, they know the family is probably having dinner while watching news. So this might be the perfect time for me to talk about my toothpaste and how it can help the whole family. Even for you, you may not have the resources to advertise on KTN or NTV at 9 o'clock, but I am sure there are different ways that you can use for free. You can use Facebook, you can use Instagram, you can use Twitter, you can use other many ways. So based on what you have in terms of resources and also based on your customer, what time should you send out those messages and using which channels, okay? To avoid wasting resources on the wrong channels, trying to get the right people. Then the other thing that really works for people is networking. For example, there are so many different kinds of events, especially pre-COVID. There used to be all these kinds of events, and we're hoping they'll come back at some point. So you'll find maybe there's an event for accountants, you know, a networking event. Maybe there's an event for, let's say, blankets and wines. Yeah, where you just go and listen to music, and you know, you get to interact with different people. As in, there are so many different kinds of events. So based on what you're selling, you need to look for, you know, where those events are advertised. It could be on Eventbrite. It could be on maybe Facebook, you know, on the event section. It could be on very different, you know, media channels, yeah? Or even just a friend of yours tells you, oh, I'm going to this and this event on Saturday. Would you like to come with me? And you go, and in the process, you actually meet your customer there. So based on who your customer is and who you're targeting, you know, again, it goes back to that. What kind of events are they most likely to attend? So can I go to such events? Can I ask to advertise or to exhibit in such events, you know, and why, you know? So just be sure that you're not spending resources on the wrong kinds of networking events, but you're also not restricting yourself so that you end up not interacting or connecting with your customer, all right? Then the other thing you can think about is giveaways. For example, just giving samples. I think in malls and supermarkets, you've seen people close to the door, maybe selling their sauce, and they ask you, just taste with a small spoon, and you're like, maybe I can buy this, maybe not. And that's usually an affordable way just to get people to sample what you're selling and make a decision on whether to buy it or not. If it's, let's say, a cake, you can do a big cake, cut small pieces, and maybe just position yourself where you know your customers will be, and just ask them to test and give you their feedback as well. Because the other thing is, using your customers' feedback, you can actually improve your product and service to be better than you even thought possible. All right. If it's a service, let's say maybe you want to be a tutor or something, you can say, I'll give you 30 minutes for free or an hour for free. Then you sample what I'm doing, then you can pay for the rest. All right. So giveaways are actually really good, and especially if you can brand them. So I wish I had a giveaway thing here, but just something small that your customer can even walk around with. Maybe just a key holder or a pen, you know, which is branded with your name, or a notebook. You can just tell them, okay, so thank you for coming maybe to our event. You can take away this free notebook for you to go and be using. And maybe in the process, while they're using their notebook, maybe in a meeting somewhere, someone will ask them, so what is XYZ? And then they'll be like, it's this business that does this and that. And you'll actually find that people get excited to come and to know a bit more about you. All right. Then the other thing you can do is you can apply is influencer marketing. So for example, you can use a celebrity who has sort of the same values as you, So let's say, for example, the way Grace Nsalame ended up being a brand ambassador for Vivo. Yeah. So it started off just her giving her honest opinion about the clothes, and before we knew it, she was an official brand ambassador. So based on the celebrities around, who can you maybe approach for a fair fee or even for free? Just find ways you can work together so that they can talk about your product or service, and those who follow them, their followers, can actually get to know a bit more about you and possibly buy from you. All right, but you also need to be careful to use an influencer whose values align with your business's values, and also an influencer who will not be too expensive for you. Maybe you don't have the resources yet. It's okay, you don't need to use one. All right. Okay. As you think about this, just ask yourself, which marketing option makes the most sense for your business and why? Okay. How much will it cost for you to apply the above option? If it's an ad on Facebook, let's say it costs you 500 shillings, but you don't get a customer from that. So is the return on investment, worth it, or should you use a different channel to talk about your business or your service? Okay. Then the other thing is, can you afford that cost? Let's say you want to use influencers to market your product or service. They are asking you for 200,000 shillings, which you don't have. So can you actually afford it? If you can't, it's okay. What else can you do in the meantime? All right. And yes, so that's about marketing. So just think about it based on your business, based on your service. Ask yourself what makes sense. What can you use? What can't you use right now? What can you use in the future for the greater good of your business? Okay, guys, are you still there? Do a wave or a raise of hands for me to know you're still around and hopefully enjoying the session.
Yeah, definitely enjoying the session.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a bit tricky when guys are off video, you're not sure.
Yeah.
If you're still there or you're alone. All right, thank you guys. Okay, yes, so the other thing I'd like for us to talk about, which is still on our canvas, our amazing canvas. As you can see, it's very comprehensive. Its distribution, which is somewhere here on the canvas. So yes, you have these amazing products, this amazing service, which is an awesome solution offering amazing benefits to your customers. Yeah. Now you've created, let's say, this amazing healthy cake or amazing product, amazing dress that you'd like to sell. And you have it with you here, yeah? But how exactly is it going to get from you to your customer? Okay, let's say for these tissues from Kleenex, yeah? Gosh, sorry guys. So Kleenex have their factory at Kimfe on Masai Road, Mombasa Road, yeah? So I live off Thika Road. So for Kleenex to get their product from their warehouse to, let's say, a supermarket near me, how exactly did that happen? Yeah. So for you as well, as an entrepreneur, you need to think about this product or service that I've created. How will it get from where I am to my customers? Okay. So will I send it out, directly, or will I use someone else to make sure that my product reaches to the customer? For example, let's say you're selling cakes. One way you can sell those cakes is by opening a bakery and selling the product directly from yourself to your customer. All right, so that's one way, which is good because you actually get to get feedback, you actually get to listen to them, you get to know what they want, what they don't want, and all that. But the other way that you can do that is maybe you can use the supermarket. So instead of you selling it directly to them, you can make sure you stocked a supermarket with your products or services, and then they get now to sell them for you, which now that's also a good way because you actually get to reach more people. If it's your bakery, let's say it's located in TRM, that's just one central location. So not unless someone comes to you or you deliver to them, they wouldn't really interact with your product or service. But if you've stocked different supermarkets in different areas in town, your product is able to reach them no matter where they are. For example, these Kleenex tissues, actually buy them from town, from Donholm, from Zimmerman, from Westlands, because they are stocked in different locations. Okay, so even for you as a business person, you need to ask yourself, for my product or for my service, how can I distribute it to my customers? How can my customers get it? Yeah. So will I interact with them directly or indirectly? Who can I partner with to make sure that my product gets to my customer at the end of the day? All right. Yes. So the other way you can even ambassador your product using Jumia. Reach your customers. No, it's someone is calling me. Sorry. Yes. So you're not able to reach your customers, but through Jumia, which actually reaches way more people, you can actually advertise your product there, and you can even ask them to do the deliveries for you as well. So all you have to do is take your product to the warehouse, and they're able to then distribute it to the different customers. All right. So as you think about how to get your product from point A to B, just think about all these options and see which one works well for you. All right. Yes. So for you, as you're thinking about your product and service, ask yourself, will it be easier for me to sell directly or indirectly, and why? Yeah. Which distribution method will make the most sense for me and also for my customer? Because at times you might think it will make sense for you, but for your customer it doesn't, because your customer is not able to access that, distribution method, or the channel you choose. All right. And then also, which steps do you need to take now to make sure that it gets to your customer? So if it's for Jumia, what do you need to do? Do you need to approach them, open an account with them, make sure your product is there at their warehouse? Or if it's a supermarket, do you need to go come up with an agreement? We'll be getting paid these and these dates. These are the branches where our products or services will be stocked, all those things. All right. Yes. So as we approach the end of our presentation, now we are dealing with our canvas at the bottom two sections. So it's startup needs and also costs. So basically, when we talk about startup needs, basically those costs that you need to start off your business. Yeah, is in the initial costs you need to employ. So that might be hiring a team to help you, for example, create a software. It might be the time you actually invest in doing everything that you need to do. It might be the capital you need to, put in. So as you think about starting your business, ask yourself, what kind of startup needs do I need to employ? Yeah, is it a few staff members? Is it a certain software for my business? Is it some equipment? Like, let's say if it's a bakery, buying pots, pans, ovens, and all that, So just ask yourself, what startup needs does my business need? All right. And then the other thing is ongoing needs. So you've started, yes, let's say you set up a bakery, you have the oven, you have the pans and pots and everything. You still need to pay monthly rent. Yeah? You still need to pay water, electricity, staff, all those things. So ask yourself, for these ongoing needs, what exactly do I need? Because they'll be recurring. Is it weekly, daily, monthly, yearly? Yeah. So those are the two main, groups of costs or needs that you'll be experiencing as you're starting out and as you're proceeding with your business. All right. So as you're starting out, ask yourself, what are your startup and your ongoing needs? All right. And are those costs really necessary for you to start? For example, if it's a bakery, do you really need to rent out a premises, buy ovens, pots and pans and all that? Or can you start off in your house? Yeah, because when you start off in your house, maybe you already have the cooker in your house, the oven. Maybe you already have somewhere to live where you're paying rent anyway, so you don't need to pay extra rent. If it's for staff, maybe you don't even need permanent staff members. You can do part-time. So whenever you have an order, someone comes, bakes, you pay them that cost. All right. So which costs are necessary and which ones are not? Yeah. So what can you do without in the beginning, but you can bring later on? Okay. And then let's say if you need 100,000 shillings as capital for your business, where exactly can you get that money? What options do you have? Yeah. will you bootstrap? Let's say you already have a business. So will you use your savings, or will you borrow from family members and friends, or will you approach, a financing institution? So those are the kinds of questions you need to ask yourself. All right. Then as you think about these things, startup needs and also the ongoing needs, they fall into two different categories of costs. All right. So there's something called fixed costs and there's something called variable costs. All right. So for fixed costs, as the term says, fixed. Basically what that means is whether you make a sale or not, you'll still need to pay this cost. Okay. For example, let's say for your house where you live, you're paying rent. Yeah. So whether you're there or you've gone up country for 5 months or not, your landlord still expects you to pay rent. Yeah. So whether you're sleeping there Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday, or you only come there once a week, the cost remains the same. All right. As opposed to, let's say, a hotel where you only pay when you're there. So let's say you only pay, you're only staying for 2 nights, so you only pay that. Yeah. So if it's somewhere permanent, you need to pay that rent. If it's licenses, that is fixed. It's I don't know if you can go really and negotiate with Nairobi City Council to reduce your licenses from 20,000 to 5. I've not really seen that happening yet. Yeah. Something else like insurance premiums, salaries, loan payments, those are usually fixed costs, and need to be very careful to make sure that you're not taking on very high fixed costs from the beginning, such that your business ends up suffering. All right. So which costs should be fixed in your business and which ones should you avoid? Okay. When it comes to the ones to avoid, which ones can you turn to variable costs? For example, instead of employing permanent staff, is it better for you to bring in part-time staff members, only come in maybe once or twice a week? Instead of having someone there monthly and maybe business is only there maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. So just think about that. Something like electricity, we know you pay for what you've spent. So it's a good cost to have as a variable cost. The same case as delivery costs. For example, if you're delivering cakes, you can vary the charges based on where the cake is going. So let's say 1 kilometer radius is 100 bob, but it's free, 2 kilometer radius like that. All right. And then, yeah, so just ask yourself, which costs should be fixed, which ones should be variable. And the beauty of variable costs is you can minimize them, but for fixed costs, they're fixed, you can't do anything about them. All right. So as you think about your costs, ask yourself, which ones are the fixed costs in my business and which ones are the variable costs? All right. And how can you reduce those costs? Have you made any mistakes so far? Like maybe renting out a premises you don't really need right now, or hiring people you can't really afford to pay at the moment? And how can you correct those mistakes? Okay, so just think about those things. Yeah. And the final box on our canvas, it's called the revenue box over there. So basically this talks about how you'll make money from your customers. So you've already come up with a product or service. It's an amazing solution. It's unique, and it has an amazing advantage over everyone else. It has amazing benefits. You've spoken about it to your customers. You've already established what your costs are, so you know how much to price your product or service. But how exactly will you make money from your customers? Yeah. So will you sell it, let's say, if it's a cake, will you price as per what your competitors are pricing, or how exactly will you charge your customers for the product? Yeah. So there are different ways you can get paid by your customers. So you can have them pay, let's say, once they get the product or service. All right. Or depending on your product or service, you can employ a method like a subscription-based method, maybe like for magazines online or for GoTV or a gym, so they pay for different packages, come at different prices. All right. Or could it be something that you've developed like a software where they pay a licensing fee? all right? Or the way you pay for airtime, yeah, a usage fee. So what you've used is what you pay for, okay? Or can you, charge for temporary use for your products, a commission for someone selling the product on your behalf, having people advertise in your magazine, for example, or will you give them a free service or product up to a certain level and then they pay for the rest? So as you think about your product and service, ask yourself, how are you going to get paid by your customers? All right, which revenue stream makes sense for you? Okay, so just think about it and ask yourself, based on my business, my product or service, how exactly will I get paid and why? All right, so guys, it's been really, really, really awesome. I hope all of us have gotten something useful from this workshop, and yeah, I hope it was useful for you. Okay, so the questions can come now. I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge, and then after that, I'll just wrap up with telling you about our upcoming class, our upcoming Aspire class, and the next steps. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. Sylvia?
Awesome. Thank you for that presentation. On the chat there, and Agape is saying thank you for the lovely presentation. Yeah, it's a mutual feeling among all of us. So yeah, guys, it's time for the questions. So any questions, anything, even if it's just a clarification from something that she talked about, but it bypassed you a little bit, so you can just ask a question. So Mary Faith has a question. I don't know whether you'll type it on the chat or you will ask it. Mary?
I think it's easier to just ask it here.
Okay.
About a distribution, or really
Sorry?
not really distribution. You talked about something like the supermarkets. You can see the product there, and it's where they can access large amounts, and of course, at a particular place. So I'm wondering, how do you get to, like, unafikiaje supermarket, like say Naivas, and tell them I have this product, I'd like it to be in your store. Like, how do you start there?
Okay, so from my experience or from what I've seen is supermarkets, number one, for them to take your product to sell, number one, you need to be registered as a business. Yeah, so you need to have the right licenses. If it's a food product that you're selling, you need to have the food handler certificate, the license to operate. Then the other thing is they need a stamp or that sticker from KEBS on your product. So if you don't have a KEBS sticker, it's very hard to sell in supermarkets, all right? Because they don't know the quality of the products that you're selling. So we've seen people who forge the KEBS sticker, which is really wrong, but it doesn't cost much. You just talk to KEBS, you tell them this is what I'm selling, so how much is it? And they actually help you, okay? Then the other thing about supermarkets is you need to make sure that you have the capital, the operating capital, to keep running, even as you wait for them to pay you for the products you've supplied to them. For example, most supermarkets will tell you wait for 90 days for us to pay you your money. But within these 90 days, they're still selling your products every day. Okay, so are you able to keep supplying the supermarkets while at the same time making sure you're not running out of stock, while at the same time making sure your business is not slipping because of lack of capital? So for supermarkets, you need to make sure you have some operating capital, set aside to make sure you can cushion yourself even as you wait for them to pay your money, all right? But even before you approach them, make sure you have the right documentation and the stamp from the sticker from KEBS. I hope I've answered you, Faith.
Yeah,
Sorry?
awesome. Thank you. So there's another question from Ian, who's asking, when creating the business canvas, do you include detailed startup costs or just an estimate?
Okay, so as you're starting out, of course, at times you might think you know everything, but you find out later that what you thought you knew is not the real thing on the ground. Yeah. So what you can do is just make sure you estimate to the best of your ability. Okay. For example, but do your research, don't just guess. If it's rent, make sure you say, you go and check out the shops where you need to, let's say, set up your bakery. Ask how much is it, how much deposit, all those things. So ask yourself, make sure you know the charges or the cost that you need to pay for. So initially it might be an approximate, and then later on you'll find it's actually more, because a few years ago I was starting a milk bar. So I thought I only needed 50,000 shillings, but I ended up spending 150,000 to set up. So at times you think you know exactly how much you need, but then you find out it will actually cost you more. So always make sure you've done your research about how much X thing will cost, and add a bit extra on top just to be safe, so that you don't end up with less and then you can't even start up. Okay.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Ian. That was a really great answer. It's something we've all been wondering about. So I also have a question actually. When deciding who your customers are, like sometimes you can find like you either have too many and you're not sure about who to focus on. So how do you decide like who's your main customer? Like what do you look for?
Wow, good question. Okay, that's the beauty of starting a business. At times, you start out with so many customers, but as you serve them, you usually notice, yeah? For example, let's say for a travel company, maybe you want to take people to Keraita, to Naivasha, to different places, and you're serving people from different age groups, yeah? You have a 65-year-old, you have a 40-year-old, you have a 20-year-old, you have a 10-year-old who is being paid for by the parent. So as you serve them, you're able to notice this person, when I sell to the 65-year-old, they're able to pay faster and they don't have a lot of stress. But when I'm serving the 30-year-old, there's a lot of back and forth. They're like, maybe I'll pay next month, maybe I'll pay end month. So as you interact with your customer, you're able to notice maybe this one takes longer to pay, or maybe this one complains a lot about what I'm offering, or maybe this one is a bit skeptical, or maybe this one is easier to deal with. So as you serve them, you're then able to eliminate, this customer is not really my perfect customer. And you're actually allowed to fire your customer. If a certain customer segment is not working for you, it's okay to let them go and say, I'm going to focus on this particular segment. But at times it's hard to fire them or to know who to focus on if you've not tried working with them. Okay, so just try out the different segments and see which one makes the most sense for you, based on maybe the kinds of challenges they're posing, their ability to pay for the product or service, the kind of feedback they're giving, and all that. Okay.
Yeah, so more or less just just try out all of them, and then now go narrowing down until you focus on the few that actually work.
Yep, actually, we have a whole week dedicated to the customer in our Aspire program. So we ask you to just go. Let's say you've come up with 4 customer personas. Go talk to each and every one of them. Try selling your product or service to them. See what happens. See the kind of feedback you get. See who is receptive. See who doesn't want to work with you, and all that.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah. So guys, any other question? Let's see. There's a question from Josephine. In identifying what problems your customers need to be addressed, is it okay to work with more than one problem at a time, or would it be of great confusion to your customers?
So I'll say yes and no. So let me start with the no part. At times you might try to solve too many problems and end up burning out, especially if you're just starting out and you have limited resources. So you'll say maybe for which kind of problem can we talk about? Let's say for the healthy baked products, you'll find maybe the problem is number 1, they need healthy baked products, but there are none around. Number 2, maybe they are located in a very interior place and they can't really access those products. Maybe number 3, they're looking for something affordable, they can't afford it. And then you try to solve all these problems at the same time. So you'll find that you have an amazing healthy baked product, but you're not able to, to get it to them. You're not able to solve the accessibility problem for them, or you're not able to solve the affordability problem for them. So you'll find that maybe your product is actually more expensive for them than they thought it would be, or you thought it would be. So they end up not valuing the solution in that sense. So when it comes to a problem, just try and solve it from one angle first. Then as you go on, you can find out maybe the other problems that you can solve. Yeah, but try not to stretch yourself too thin initially, but rather just go step by step. Solve one problem, make sure you understand it completely, and then now you can move on to try and solve another one. All right. But on the other hand, you might be lucky enough to be able to solve like 5 without stretching yourself too thin. So again, it depends on the product or service that you're trying to sell. Okay.
Hey, awesome. Thank you. Josephine, I hope that answers your question. It was
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So Sylvia, the other Sylvia is asking whether you mentioned personas in the canvas. She missed that part. Are they needed? Like, is it something you're supposed to come up with in the canvas?
Yes. So customer personas are very, very important. And that's why I was talking about the demographic characteristics and the emotional characteristics. So basically, as you talk about the demographic characteristics, I talk about, how old are they? Where do they stay? What kind of income do they have? Where do they usually maybe go for fun over the weekends? Yeah. But then you also need to know what are their interests? What drives them? What are their values? What are their beliefs? What are their skills? Maybe what are they trying to upgrade and all that. So when you look at the customer from both sides, the demographic characteristics and the emotional characteristics, you're able to look at them. It's like externally and internally. And from that, now you're able to know how to approach them. Okay. And yes, you can have more than one customer. So you can have like 5 customer personas, but approach all of them and see now which one is the ideal customer based on the feedback and your observation as you deal with the different customers. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'd seen someone raise their hand. Was it Gerald?
Yeah, it was Gerald.
Yes. First, I'd like to say thank you for a great session. That was really incredible.
Thanks,
It's brought everything together. So my question is just around the customer segment again. So, okay, so when you're coming up with the segments, sometimes your product, you can go like too niche, such that the customer base is too small to make business case. So how again do you balance between not focusing on everyone and then again not focusing on a very small niche market that doesn't make sense to invest in? Thank you.
Okay. Yes. So again, one of the things that we really insist on when it comes to your customer is talk to a lot of customers. Talk to as many customers as you can. And as you talk to them, get as much feedback as you can. And the kind of feedback we're talking about is on product, like what can you improve? The price point, is it too high? Is it too low? Is it just right? Their ability to pay, because they can say the price is perfect, but I'm not able to pay. So you do with that customer. Yeah. So as you talk to your again, you're able now to determine, okay, so this product or service I'm selling, yes, I found 5 customers who are willing and able to buy, but is that enough market to sustain my business? All right. So the more you talk to them, the more you go back to the drawing board and ask yourself, okay, for 20 customers, are those able to sustain my business to the end, or do I need to maybe tweak my product to target a different kind of customer? okay? Because you might have an amazing product, but only few people can afford it, and you can really be in business for that. So I talk to them as you get their feedback. Just keep asking yourself questions. Are they the right customers for me, really? And for the right customer, they should be able to pay you, you know, they should be able to appreciate what you're selling. And also they should be able to, the number should be enough, you know, it should be big enough to sustain your business. So as you keep talking to them, keep getting their feedback, keep looking at the product, maybe there's something I should add to actually reach more people, or maybe there's something that I should remove. You create this amazing prototype of this amazing product. It has amazing features, but it ends up being too expensive. But if you remove like 5 of those features and make it a bit more basic, you'll be able to reach more people. Okay, so based on your customers' feedback, just try out. Is there something I can remove? Is there something I can add? Or should I price? It's just a minor price adjustment that you need to do. Sometimes you might price your product, let's say, only like 5 people are able to pay. But if you price it at less than 100 shillings, you'll find 100 people are able to pay. So the price margin will be lower, but your customers are more. Okay? Very high price margin, profit margin, and then you have your customers. Okay, so just ask yourself, because mostly pricing issues sometimes is usually where most people get stuck, especially when you're starting out. So your product is too expensive, only a few people can afford it. But if you adjust your price just a bit downwards, you're able to reach more people. Okay, because you see these boutiques in town, some of them sell their clothes at very high prices, and yet they're targeting people who can't really afford that. Okay, so you'll find someone tells you the dress is 2,500 shillings, but for you, you only have 1,000 bob. Yeah, so they'll stay with a dress for 3 months, they've not sold it. Yet you'll find some hawkers on the streets saying 200, 200, and they'll sell a whole bill in one evening, you know? So ask yourself, for my product to have this and the people I'm targeting, is the price point right based on their feedback and their reaction? Yeah, is there anything I can reduce or I can add to get more customers? Yeah, or is there a way I can change how I'm approaching these customers? Yeah, because your price point can be high, but you show them benefit. Once they understand the value, once they see they're getting money, then it's easier for you to convince them to buy from. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. Yeah. So something else. I hope you have time to price. So how do you know that? For example, you sometimes get told that your pricing affects your brand, and sometimes you have a product that you know you can sell like really affordably, but then you know like that would go below the market standard. So how do you make sure that you're not appearing as cheap, and or it's just about making sure that you get the sales first, and then you can worry about the brand and perception later?
That's a good question. So what I'll do is I can give you an example of, let's say, Bolt. Yeah, I hope a few of us have used Bolt or Uber before. Yeah, you see they usually have different categories for the cars. They have the basic or light package, then they have a slightly higher package, as in based on how much you're able to pay, you actually have options, to choose from. So for like Uber, they have Uber Chap Chap, So see, when you request a ride, you get the options. So like, based on the comfort levels I want, based on the money I have, based on where I'm going, this is the kind of car that I can select. Let's say you have very little money and it was an emergency, you hadn't even planned to use an Uber, and maybe you're going somewhere that is not very, classy and all that. You can just take the Chap Chap. It's cheap, it will get you there. It's a small Suzuki, maybe it'll go shaking, but provided you get there, right? But maybe you're going to a high-end neighborhood, or let's say you're going to Karen for work or for a workshop where you need to appear like, you're someone of substance, so to speak. So you'll ask yourself, can I really go there with a chap, or should I take a slightly more expensive, higher priced option? So it will be a bit more comfortable. I'll look better. I'll feel better. Even by the time I'm getting there, I won't look frazzled and, like I'm from a roller coaster and all that. Yeah. So even for you as the entrepreneur, ask yourself, fine, I don't want to seem as cheap, yeah, or too expensive, but can I offer like different products with very, slight changes, or what can I say, different features, but while maintaining my brand. For example, if you want a Samsung phone, yeah, you can get a something, maybe a 01 at, let's say, 8,000 shillings or 5,000 shillings. But if, the higher you want to go, you'll get something for your price point, yeah? But that still doesn't affect the Samsung brand. But I think what worked for them is they started with, the expensive, high-valued products, but then they noticed there's a market they're not targeting, yeah? So they had to find a way to accommodate that market as well. But now, since you're just starting out and you might not have the resources to make it seem like you're a high-end brand, what can you do? Yeah, so that's up to you now as a business to figure out. Do I just want to enter the market as a simple, affordable, product or service, and then later introduce more expensive products or services? Or do I want to enter with an expensive product, but later incorporate the lower end market? So that's a decision that you'd have to make based on your product or service. Yeah. But either way, you can find a way to make it work. I hope I've answered you, Gerald.
Gerald? Oh, yeah. He said thanks. So, yeah.
Yeah, yes, you have. Thanks for the explanation.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah. So I believe that was a really it was a really good session. It's given us a lot of information, a lot of things to think about. And I hope that all you guys are able to now think more deeper rather about your ideas. Like, this is you want to be able to pitch really good ideas before the judges in order to get to move to the next level. So I believe this is a tool that will help you to define that idea really well, and also, it's something you can even go further with, not even beyond the competition. It's something you can go further with. So this is where you start. I hope that all this information will help you to actually begin. Yeah. So thank you, Jane. That was a really good session. So as I said, as I told you guys, you're going to be required to submit a kind of a business model based on the information that has been shared today. By the way, we'll share a form for you guys to fill, so that you start on defining your idea better. So yeah, just look out for that. And also, this session will be Jen will share a PDF that I will also share with you, so that you'll be able to go through everything, if in case there's something you miss, so that you can be able to define your idea better. Before you move on, Jen, there's a question there from Sylvia. She's asking, in tailoring the message of the brand, which are some of the key points where startups fail?
In tailoring the message. So number one area that they fail is giving mixed messages to customers. Yeah. So you'll tell your customer you're extremely reliable, you're the right person to turn to, but when they call you or when they reach out, you don't respond. When they call you on your office line, it's off. When they chat you up, you don't respond. So they're left wondering, okay, fine, this person said they're the most reliable brand, but they're not even responding to my text or to my messages or to my calls. Okay. Number two, where most startups fail is employing a budget they can't really afford. So for example, yes, you want to get to as many customers as possible. So you choose a channel that is too high priced, whereas you could have used that money elsewhere, maybe in product development or something. Is using the wrong channel to reach the right customer. Okay, so if your customer is available on Instagram, you're busy on Facebook, and they're not even on Facebook, or yeah, different, using the wrong channel to reach the right customer. I think those are the main, yeah, mistakes people make. But you can let me know in case something is not clear. Okay, so did Sylvia just disappear on us? Oh, Sylvia is still here? Hello? Sylvia, hold please.
Sylvia.
Okay. Or someone else can ask a question if there's one before we move on to the next.
Are there any questions? Any more questions? Okay, so I suppose we can move on to now the last part.
Okay, so I just want to let you guys know about the program that I mentioned as we were starting out. It's the program that I manage. It is called the Aspire Launchpad program for idea stage and early stage entrepreneurs. So currently, we have the program running in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Egypt, about to go into Mongolia, and growing. Okay, so we have the program running in different locations, and we actually have a class coming up. So that is on October 31st, which is next Saturday, not this one, next week. And it's going to be in Limani, our training center. So it's going to be on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. All right. So in case you'd like to join us, this is something you can consider. And the application form, the link is there. You can see it's, as it will take you like 5-7 minutes to fill in. And so, yeah, you can just apply, and then we'll reach out to you and help you through the next steps. Okay. The program is also quite affordable. So because of COVID, we've reduced the cost of the program to only 18,000 shillings, which you can pay in up to 3 installments of 6,000 shillings per installment. And then we usually have a refundable registration fee of 1,500, which you will get back once you finish the program. All right. So in case of anything, kindly you can reach out to me. My number is there. My email is there as well. You can also visit us on our website just to find out a bit more about who we are as Sinapis, who we are as Aspire, and yeah, we'd love to have you join our community. So we also usually have webinars running every month. So just keep an eye out. You can visit our Facebook page, just like it will be getting prompts when you have workshops coming up. You can talk to us, you can look on our website and see upcoming events and classes. Yes, so feel free to share with your friends. Feel free to just do a bit more research about us. And in case you have a question which is business related, let me know or let us know, and we'll be happy to answer. All right. Thank you so much. You've been an amazing, amazing, amazing audience. And I wish you the very best in your businesses. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you as well. You've been amazing as well. Thank you for that. It was a really comprehensive session. So yeah, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Guys, as you've heard, the Aspire program is open for all you guys, so you can apply if you want, definitely, and join the Sinapis community, which will, it's amazing. Yeah. So I think we've come to the end of the session, and I believe that everyone, before we go, we can close with a word of prayer, and then everyone will be free to live at their own pleasure. Thank you again, Jean. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So let's pray.
Who's closing? Oh, you, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we come before your presence once more, saying thank you for taking us through that session. It was a really amazing session, and I really thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you for bringing us together with Sinapis, for bringing us together with Jane, who's shared this information and who's taken her time to share this information and the tools that we really needed. And I believe that every work that we do from here on out shall all be to the glory and honor of your name. And for that, we are absolutely grateful. Thank you for that. And thank you for everyone who's been able to join this session. I pray that you may guide them in all their endeavors from whatever in whatever that they do in any business and entrepreneurship endeavors that they undertake. I pray that you may guide them and be with them, and that at the end of it all, we shall all be able to glorify and magnify your holy name. Thank you for everything. In Jesus' name, we do pray, trusting and believing. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Sylvia. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice weekend. And yeah. Oh, Sylvia, you can let them know we'll have another session. Is it next week?
We are having the next session we are having with Sinapis is going to be on the. Actually, let me see. Let me just confirm the date for that. So we are having the next session with Sinapis is actually going to be on pitching. So guys, that's going to be a really, really important session. You're going to require that, you have the business model, and then the few sessions that are coming up are going to be about refining your business model more, and also gaining some soft skills. And then now comes the pitching. This is the entire program is centered around pitching. So Sinapis is going to take us through investor pitch training on Thursday the 12th of November, the same time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So guys, look out for that session. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, and you're going to really require that information.
Yeah, so someone else from our team will be taking you through that, but it's going to be awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, so we believe we can release you and go with all our blessings and all our gratitude and basically, yeah, all our goodwill. Yeah.
Thank you, Sylvia. You guys are awesome. And all the best in your businesses. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Gerald and Sylvia, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Gerald, how about you? Is it possible for you guys to remain a bit?
Sawa. Let me see. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can remain for the next few minutes while everyone else leaves. Okay.
Is this like overtime or something?
Jeez. Okay.
Kuna OT.
Ati?
Okay. Kuna OT. Kuna overtime.